now 7:22. A BBC investigation has revealed serious concerns about a controversial vein-widening treatment being offered to people with multiple sclerosis in the southwest. Critics say the treatment is unproven. Nonetheless, it's being sold for thousands of pounds at clinics around the world and also by a business here in the UK. Well, Sam Smith is the presenter of tonight's Inside Out Southwest. She joins me now. Sam, what does this treatment involve?
Well, it's what some people will know as angioplasty, which is a procedure used to clear blockages and narrowings in blood vessels. And what happens is small balloons are inserted on a thin wire into the body via a small incision in the groin and then fed up to the affected vessel and inflated to widen it and correct any abnormalities. So it's not a new technique. It's been used for years. But what's new is that it's being used on people with multiple sclerosis based on a theory that blockages in certain veins in their upper body and necks are triggering their symptoms. Now, critics of this say there's no evidence that this is an effective treatment for MS and no plausibility to the medical theory that lies behind it. And they point out that, like all medical procedures, it does carry a risk. Now, John Zychek, who is Professor of Clinical Neuroscience at Plymouth Peninsula Medical School, says people with multiple sclerosis are particularly vulnerable to claims about unproven treatments.
I can understand people that get desperate, but there's virtually one new treatment a year that people get led into and proves to be ineffective. So at the moment there is no evidence to my mind that this procedure and this explanation for multiple sclerosis have any value at all.
So there's no evidence to back this up, Sam. Why are people going through with it?
Well, there's little in the way of alternatives. There's no cure for MS, and there are few effective treatments. And also, the whole thing was sparked 2 years ago when an Italian doctor did some research which did seem to produce astonishing results. He found that everybody he looked at with MS had these multiple vein, what he described as multiple vein abnormalities, and he couldn't find these in any of the healthy people that he looked at. So he theorized that these blockages were somehow causing MS, and he then carried out angioplasty on a small group of people with MS, and he found afterwards that the health of some of them improved. Now, within months of him publishing this work, clinics were springing up offering this treatment for a fee from £5,000 upwards. But since that publication of that work, other research teams have tried to reproduce it. Now, that is a vital step in getting a new idea like this accepted as valid. And nobody has been able to reproduce Zamboni's results. One US doctor said he'd found the abnormalities in just over half of people with MS, but that research hasn't yet been published. 7 studies which have been published by independent research teams have failed to back up that original work by Zamboni.
Yet, some people with MS seem to believe in it.
With an absolute passion. I mean, if you go on YouTube, you will see scores of before and after videos of people from all over the world who say it worked for them. Now, experts in multiple sclerosis say that perceived improvements like that you could put those down to the nature of the disease in some cases, because MS in some forms comes and goes. The symptoms, relapse and remit. But another explanation is the placebo effect. Now, this is a recognised phenomenon in medicine where a patient feels better simply for having something done. However, as I said, some patients are adamant that their improvements are real. Karen Lewis, who is from Devon, had her angioplasty done in Egypt last year.
It's like a whole weight has been lifted. And whereas I perhaps used to shed a tear every day, I haven't cried since I had the procedure. Placebo? Bring it on. Love it. If it's placebo, I'll take it every day, every day.
And yet, although Karen went to Egypt, this procedure is available in the UK.
Yes, not on the NHS, because the government considers it unproven, but a business in Scotland is offering it at a cost of £8,000. The director of the company is a practising GP called Dr. Tom Gilhooly. He rejects any suggestion of improper behaviour, and he insisted to me in no uncertain terms that the procedure is safe and based on sound science.
You're not going to change what we're going to do. You're not going to change the determination we've got to make patients better. I see these patients, I know these patients, I value these patients, I've looked after them for years, I've seen them after the procedure, the vast majority are improved. We have something fantastic here, and you will not deflect it, not one bit, and your behaviour and the BBC's behaviour is despicable.
We understand, though, that such is the concern about his company's provision of this procedure that he has been reported to the Doctors' Watchdog, the General Medical Council.
OK, you can see more on that story with Sam Smith, Inside Out Southwest, BBC One tonight, starting from 7:30.